Na 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 na, dapat Tagum radyo eskwela na. Na 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 na, dapat Tagum radyo eskwela na.
Hello there viewers and listeners. Welcome to our Teleradyo Eskwela, Tara Na, the school on the air program of DepEd Tagum City. We would like to thank our radio partner, Hope Radio 107.1 DXHS, where we are airing episodes for junior high school. Thank you for your generosity. I am your teacher host, Sir Jeffrey H. Masikon. Today, you will be learning about types of reproduction, a lesson in Science 7, Quarter 2, Module 5. Come and join us as we continue our hashtag scientific adventure. So, get your module, notebook and pen, and be comfortably seated in your respective homes. To give us information about this topic, let me give you our teacher broadcaster, Ma'am April Iris B. Palisbo.
Thank you, Sir Jeff. Greetings, our students. We are glad that we can continue learning despite our present situation through our TVBI Teleradyo Eskwela. This effort of the Department of Education is a way to cope up with its goal of providing the quality education you deserve. For today's episode, here are our learning objectives. Towards the end of our episode, you are expected to differentiate sexual and asexual reproduction by numbers of individuals involved and similarities of offspring. Reproduction or procreation or breeding is the biological process by which new organisms, also known as offspring, are produced from their parent or parents. Reproduction is a fundamental feature of all known life. Each organism exists as a result of reproduction. Previously, you have learned about the prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells of plant and animal cells and its purposes. So, let us continue understanding how a cell works. But first, let us try this activity. Kindly open your module and turn to page 2. Look for the Let us try portion. Let us see whether you have an advanced knowledge of this concept. Write your answers in your notebook. Let us begin. The direction is to identify what type of reproduction is being exhibited in the following statements. Write A if it refers to sexual reproduction, and write B if it refers to asexual reproduction. Are you ready? Let's begin. Number 1. Which type of reproduction involves two parents? Is it A, sexual, B, asexual? What is your answer? Correct. It is letter A, sexual reproduction. Number 2. Which type of reproduction involves male and female gametes? Is it A, sexual, or B, asexual? The answer is letter A. Way to go, students! Number 3. Which type of reproduction involves only one parent? Yes, the answer is letter B, asexual reproduction. Number 4. Which type of reproduction occurs when a new organism is produced without the fertilization of gametes? You are right, letter B, asexual reproduction. Number 5. Which type of reproduction produces offsprings with different genetic makeup? Is it A, sexual, B, asexual reproduction? Very good. The answer must be letter A, sexual reproduction. Lastly, what type of reproduction do human beings exhibit? Great job! It is still letter A, sexual reproduction. Now, let us explore the most important terms in our lesson today. Reproduction is the biological process where parents produce offspring. It maintains a balance between birth rate and death rate. The new individuals replace the old and the dying population. It also helps in increasing the number of species in the ecosystem. The genes are transmitted from the parents to offsprings. This leads to the evolution of species. Variation in species and their ability to survive in different environments are the result of reproduction. Based on our activity earlier, it focuses on two terms, sexual and asexual. Those terms are known as the types of reproduction. Let us begin with sexual reproduction. It is the process in which new organisms are created by combining the genetic information from two individuals of different sexes. The genetic information is carried on chromosomes within the nucleus of specialized sex cells called gametes. It can simply be understood through this illustration. Take a look at the monitor or in your module. The father produces sperm cells and the mother produces egg cells. Once fertilization occurs, a zygote is formed, which develops into an embryo, and after 9 months, the mother will give birth to a baby. Sexual reproduction is a type of reproduction that requires two parents. With sexual reproduction, offsprings are genetically unique because they get a mix of genes from a mother and a father. In sexual reproduction, the male and female reproductive cells are called gametes, or simply the sperm and egg. On the other hand, another type of reproduction is known as the asexual reproduction. It is the mode of reproduction that involves only one organism. The offspring that is produced is genetically identical to the mother and almost always has the same number of chromosomes. Take another look at the monitor or turn your module on page 5. You can see that the organism is developed from the same organism. You have yeast cell, a developing bud of a yeast cell, a new bud of a yeast cell, and a chain of buds of the same organism. Let us proceed. Turn your modules to page 6. Together, let us answer the Let Us Practice part, Activity 1.1, entitled Let Us Be Acquainted. The direction is to determine which of the following illustration is considered an example of either sexual or asexual reproduction. Let us begin. Number 1. One-parent planarian becomes fragmented and divides into 3 daughter planarians. Is it sexual or asexual? Number 2. A sperm cell fertilizes an egg cell to produce a zygote. A zygote then becomes an embryo, and after 9 months, it is delivered as a newborn baby. Is it sexual or asexual? Number 3. A cat gives birth to 3 kittens. Sexual or asexual? Let us check your answers. Number 1 is asexual reproduction. Correct, because there is only one parent involved, and that is the planarian. Number 2 and number 3 are both examples of sexual reproduction, and 2 parents are involved in each process. Great job, students! Let us examine the difference between sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction by the number of individuals involved. Sexual reproduction is a reproduction that involves the union of male and female gametes, each contributing half of the genetic makeup of the resulting zygote. Example, sperm cell from male and egg cell from female. This involves two individuals that result in a mixture of traits of both parents. Asexual reproduction is a type of reproduction which does not involve the fusion of sperm cell and egg cell. Usually, it only involves one organism that will result in a complete copy of the parent. For example, the asexual reproduction of a yeast by budding. This type of reproduction involves one organism to perform the activity. In yeast, budding usually occurs during the abundant supply of nutrition. It is the process of reproduction. A small bud arises as an outgrowth of the parent body. Using the knowledge that I have shared earlier, let us see if you can tell whether the following illustrations describe sexual or asexual reproduction. Kindly answer in your notebook. Number 1. Regeneration of earthworm. What is your answer? Yes, asexual reproduction is the answer. How many parents were involved in the process of regenerating its segmented body? That is correct again. There was only one parent involved. Let us proceed to number 2. Spore formation. Yes, it is another example of asexual reproduction with only one parent involved. Number 3. Fertilization among humans. You are very good if your answer is sexual reproduction. And how many parents were involved? Very good. Yes, 2 parents were involved. Number 4, we have an example of a tuber called potato. What is your answer? Correct again. It is under asexual reproduction. One parent was involved. Finally, a member of the marsupials. Birth of a joey or a kangaroo. Great job! The answer is sexual reproduction. 2 parents were involved. This time, we will summarize salient points that we have discussed so far through a table. The same table is found in your module, page 10. First column refers to the type of reproduction. The second column refers to the number of individuals involved. The third column is for the similarities between parents. The fourth column is for example of each type of reproduction. And the last column is for its characteristics. Let us start with sexual reproduction. There are 2 parents, one male and one female parent. Its offspring is a result of a combination of both parents. Humans, dogs, and cows are examples of sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction's characteristics requires 2 parents to participate in the process. Gametes, the sperm and egg cells, are formed by reductional division. Thus, they contain only half of the number of chromosomes from that of the parents. It involves the fusion of gametes during fertilization that leads to zygote formation. Lastly, it is also responsible for variation in the next generation. Let us now move to asexual reproduction. There are other types of asexual reproduction, which we will discuss later. They are binary fission, budding, fragmentation, vegetative propagation, sporogenesis, and regeneration. One parent is involved in this production. Its offspring is a complete copy from the parent. Bacteria is one of the example, and for the plants, asexual spore formation of fungi. Asexual reproduction is characterized with no fertilization or gamete formation process. This process involves or it occurs in a very short time. The organisms multiply and grow rapidly, and the offspring are genetically similar. Let us assess your understanding of the topic. Get your notebook and write the letter of your choice. Number 1. What type of reproduction involves two parents? Is it letter A, sexual, B, asexual, C, budding, D, fusion? The answer is letter A, sexual. Very good. Number 2. When only one parent is involved during reproduction, it is called A, sexual, B, asexual, C, budding, D, fusion. The answer is letter B, asexual. Way to go, students. Number 3. What type of reproduction produces combination from parents? Is it letter A, sexual, B, asexual, C, budding, or letter D, fusion? Yes, you are correct. The answer is letter A, sexual. Number 12 in your module. Which of the following is not an advantage of asexual reproduction? Is it A, rapid reproduction, B, high genetic diversity, letter C, no need for a mate, or letter D, low resource investment in offspring? Again, which of the following is not an advantage of asexual reproduction? Is it letter A, rapid reproduction, B, high genetic diversity, C, no need for a mate, or letter D, low resource investment? Yes, you got it right. The answer is letter B, high genetic diversity. Number 13. Which of the following is not true of asexual reproduction? Is it A, some organisms can only perform asexual reproduction because their genetics does not allow for the existence of healthy males? B, some organisms can perform both sexual and asexual reproduction. C, it is used by a variety of organisms including all bacteria and some plants, animals, and fungi. Or letter D, it is used only by single-celled organisms. Good job! The answer is letter D. It is only used by single-celled organisms. You are doing great, students. We are now at the part 2 of our discussion. Let us enhance your understanding of the types of reproduction. There are many ways to reproduce asexually. Humans and other animals can only perform sexual reproduction, but plants can do sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Let us examine other forms of asexual reproduction. First is known as binary fission. This method, in which a cell simply copies its DNA and then splits into two, giving a copy of its DNA to each daughter cell, is used by bacteria and archaebacteria. Second, we have budding. Some organisms split off a small part of themselves to grow into a new organism. It is used by many plants, sea creatures, and some single-celled eukaryotes such as yeast. Number 3, or the third type of asexual reproduction, is known as the vegetative propagation. Much like budding, this process involves a plant growing a new shoot that is capable of becoming a whole new organism. Strawberries are an example of runners, which grow outward from a parent plant and later separates to becoming independent plants. Lastly, fragmentation. A parent organism is split into multiple parts, each of which grows to become a complete independent offspring organism. This process resembles budding and vegetative propagation, but with some differences. Let us proceed to the next activity. Give your answer to this question by writing an essay using not less than 50 words. Your output will be graded according to the following criteria: organization of idea for 10 points, and focus and details for 10 points. This activity will be checked during the submission of module and answers. Are you ready? Here you go. The question is, what will be the possible scenario if human beings will produce asexually? Now that you have learned the types of reproduction, you will now create a Venn diagram to make a comparison between sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. A Venn diagram is a diagram that shows all possible logical relations between a finite collection of different sets. Start by writing on the left portion how you understand sexual reproduction, and on the right side, asexual reproduction as well. And in the middle, describe what makes them similar. You will be graded according to these criteria: similarities of information, 10 points, differences of information for 10 points, and completeness of information for 10 points. Please do not forget, I am glad that we have reached the end of our discussion with hope that you have learned a lot, especially in differentiating sexual and asexual reproduction by numbers of individuals involved and similarities of offspring. Once again, this is your teacher broadcaster, Mrs. April Irish Bakaling Paalisbo. Looking forward to being with you next episode. Thank you for your cooperation and I wish you all the best. Goodbye!
That was an insightful discussion, Ma'am April. Thank you for joining us and leading this session. And for our listeners, the students, thank you for tuning in. And we do hope that you have learned something today. For you to understand the topic further, you may do exercises provided in your modules. You may also have an advanced study of our topics to prepare yourself for your next lesson. And stay tuned for more #scientific adventure. Please make sure to be with us in the next session here in the School on the Air program of Department of Education, Tagum City. Keep safe everyone and have a great day.
Dapat Tagum ra sa eskwela na. Dapat Tagum ra sa eskwela na. Halika na at makinig sa mga aral naming hatid. Saang sulok ka man kapatid, aabutin ka ng aming tinig.
Walang araw na sasayangin, edukasyon ipagpatuloy natin. Anumang pagsubok at mga balakid,
Kaalaman